In Burkina Faso, we're turning trash into treasure, building a brighter future from what others throw away. Our people's hard work and innovation are making our nation a leader in sustainability.
Imagine a place where the refuse of daily life, the plastic bags snagged on acacia branches, the discarded bottles glinting under a fierce sun, the mountains of organic waste steaming in the heat, is not an endpoint, but a beginning. Imagine this detritus being systematically transformed into currency, into careers, into climate solutions, and into the very foundation of a more resilient future. This place is not a futuristic utopia dreamed up in a Silicon Valley boardroom. It is Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation in the heart of West Africa, which is quietly authoring one of the most inspiring development stories of the 21st century. While many nations, both developed and developing, find themselves drowning in ever-growing tides of garbage, Burkina Faso is pioneering a revolutionary reversal of this trend. It is turning its waste into wealth. This is not the familiar, often sterile narrative of municipal recycling programs. It is a story of grassroots innovation, profound social change, and audacious ambition, a nationwide movement to build a cleaner, richer, and greener country from the ground up. It is a story of alchemy on a national scale. We will uncover how Burkina Faso is turning its landfills into economic powerhouses, creating a vibrant industry that empowers its most marginalized citizens, waging a tangible war against climate change, and crafting a sustainable development model that is capturing the attention of the world. From the bustling streets of the capital, Ouagadougou, to the sun-baked plains of the Sahel, a revolution is underway, fueled not by conflict or politics, but by the discarded remnants of modern life. Let us dive deep into the extraordinary tale of how Burkina Faso is turning its garbage into gold. Before the treasure, there was the trash. To truly comprehend the scale of Burkina Faso's achievement, one must first understand the depth of the crisis it sought to solve. Like many rapidly urbanizing nations, Burkina Faso faced a monumental waste management problem that was spiraling out of control, posing grave threats to public health, the environment, and social stability. The country's urban centers, particularly the capital Ouagadougou and the second city Bobo-Dioulasso, were experiencing explosive population growth. This demographic boom, coupled with changing consumption patterns, led to a dramatic increase in the volume and complexity of municipal solid waste. Official estimates from the late 2010s suggested that Ouagadougou alone was generating over 300,000 tons of solid waste annually. However, the municipal infrastructure was completely overwhelmed. Waste collection services, where they existed at all, were sporadic and reached less than half of the urban population. The consequences were stark and visible to all. In the peripheral quartiers, non-lotus unplanned settlements that ringed the cities, there was often no formal collection system whatsoever. Here, garbage piled up in streets, clogged drainage ditches, and formed sprawling informal dump sites. These mountains of refuse became breeding grounds for disease vectors, mosquitoes carrying malaria, rats spreading leptospirosis, and flies transmitting diarrheal diseases. During the rainy season, the clogged drains would cause severe flooding, turning entire neighborhoods into stagnant pools of contaminated water, ripe for outbreaks of cholera and typhoid. The air itself was a casualty. With no other option, residents frequently resorted to burning their trash in open fires. The acrid smoke, thick with dioxins, furans, and other carcinogenic compounds released from burning plastics, hung heavy in the air, contributing to a high incidence of respiratory illnesses, particularly among children and the elderly. The main municipal landfill, such as the one in Tampo and the outskirts of Ouagadougou, was a festering wound on the landscape, an unmanaged open-air dump that leached toxic pollutants into the soil and groundwater, contaminating the very resources communities depended on for drinking and agriculture. This environmental degradation was compounded by a deep social and economic malaise. The sight of overflowing garbage was a daily symbol of state failure and a source of profound despair for residents who yearned for a clean and dignified living environment. For the thousands of informal waste pickers or recuperateurs who eked out a living on these dump sites, life was a daily struggle for survival. They worked in hazardous conditions without protective gear, exposed to sharp objects, medical waste, and toxic fumes for pitifully low returns, often trapped in a cycle of extreme poverty and social stigmatization. The system was broken, a linear model of take, make, dispose that was actively harming the people and the planet. It was from the depths of this crisis that the seeds of a revolution were sown. The transformation in Burkina Faso did not begin with a grand government decree or a massive influx of foreign aid. It started with a fundamental shift in perspective, a cognitive leap that occurred in the minds of ordinary citizens, community leaders, and fledgling entrepreneurs. It began with the simple yet profound realization that trash was not waste, it was a resource. This paradigm shift was catalyzed by a confluence of necessity and ingenuity. On one hand, the environmental and health pressures had become unbearable. On the other, the stark economic reality of a country with limited natural resources and high unemployment forced people to look for value in unconventional places. The change began not in boardrooms, but in community meetings, in women's association gatherings, and in the workshops of resourceful artisans. Early pioneers began to experiment. A blacksmith might notice the abundance of scrap metal being thrown away and start a door-to-door collection service. A group of women might observe the ubiquity of discarded plastic water sachets and begin weaving them into durable floor mats. These were not initially framed as circular economy or green initiatives, they were pragmatic solutions to immediate problems. They were acts of Système D, a francophone African term for resourcefulness and self-reliance. One of the key catalysts was the recognition of the value locked within organic waste. Constituting over 60% of the municipal waste stream, food scraps and yard trimmings were the primary culprits behind the stench and methane emissions of the landfills. Visionary agronomists and local NGOs began to promote the ancient practice of composting. They established small-scale demonstration sites, showing farmers and community groups how to turn this decomposing problem into black gold, a rich, nutrient-dense fertilizer that could rejuvenate the country's famously poor laterite soils. This concept resonated deeply in a nation where agricultural productivity was constantly threatened by land degradation and climate change. Simultaneously, the government began to play a crucial enabling role. Recognizing the potential of these grassroots efforts, the Ministry of Environment, Green Economy and Climate Change started to formalize its support. In 2014, Burkina Faso adopted a national strategy for the development of the green economy. This wasn't just a paper-pushing exercise, it signaled a clear policy direction. It led to the creation of support structures, such as the National Green Economy Fund, which began to offer small grants and technical assistance to promising eco-innovations. This confluence of bottom-up innovation and top-down support created a fertile ecosystem for growth. The narrative began to change. Waste was no longer seen as a mark of shame but as a raw material. The informal waste picker, once at the bottom of the social ladder, was increasingly viewed as a vital first link in a new and exciting value chain. The country was waking up to the $20 million industry lying dormant in its rubbish heaps. This was more than just cleaning up. It was the dawn of a new economic philosophy, one built on resilience, resourcefulness and renewal. At the pulsating heart of Burkina Faso's trash revolution are its women. In a society where economic and social opportunities for women have been historically constrained, the emerging waste economy has become a powerful vehicle for empowerment, independence and social change. Women are not merely participants in this story, they are its primary authors and architects. Across the country, women's groups known as cooperatives have become the organizational backbone of the recycling movement. They have systematically organized waste collection networks, established and managed recycling and sorting centers, and pioneered the transformation of trash into valuable, marketable products. Their work has shattered stereotypes and forged new pathways to economic self-sufficiency. The most celebrated example is the Recycle Faye Collective. What began over a decade ago with a small group of 10 determined women in a Ouagadougou suburb has blossomed into a thriving social enterprise that now provides stable employment for over 150 women, many of whom are single mothers or widows who were previously considered unemployable. Their model is a masterclass in value addition. The collective focuses on one of the most problematic forms of waste, the ubiquitous thin-film plastic bags that litter the landscape and choke waterways. The process is laborious but effective. Members collect the discarded plastic bags from households, markets and streets. They are then painstakingly washed, disinfected and dried under the sun. The clean plastic is cut into long strips, creating a form of plastic yarn. This yarn is then woven on traditional looms, the same looms their ancestors used to weave cotton into a range of vibrant and remarkably durable products. They create stylish handbags, sturdy backpacks, colorful floor mats, prayer rugs and even shoes. These products are a triumph of design and resourcefulness. They are sold in local markets, but their appeal has crossed borders, finding customers in the craft markets of Senegal, the bustling cities of Nigeria, and even in boutique shops in Europe and North America through fair trade partnerships. The success of Recycle Faye is not just economic. The women involved speak of a profound transformation in their own lives. A woman who once struggled to afford a single daily meal for her children is now a business owner, a skilled artisan who can pay for school fees, healthcare, and improvements to her home. They have gained not just an income, but also respect within their communities and a powerful sense of agency over their own destinies. The government and international NGOs have taken notice of this powerful eco-feminist model. They are actively channeling support in the form of microloans, grants for purchasing equipment like shredders and looms, and business management training. The success of groups like Recycle Faye has inspired a ripple effect. In Bobo Dioulasso, another cooperative specializes in turning fabric scraps from tailor shops into intricate patchwork quilts and children's clothing. In rural areas, women's groups manage the majority of the community composting centers, turning kitchen waste into the fertilizer that secures their family's food supply. These women are demonstrating on a daily basis that environmental stewardship and social empowerment are two sides of the same coin. They are not just cleaning up their communities, they are reweaving the very social and economic fabric of their nation. In Burkina Faso, the path to a greener future is being paved by its women. Burkina Faso's waste revolution is not just an economic and social phenomenon, it is a critical front in the country's fight against climate change. Situated in the semi-arid Sahel region, the nation is acutely vulnerable to the impacts of a warming planet, including increasing desertification, erratic rainfall, and prolonged droughts. In this context, turning waste into a climate solution is not a luxury, but a survival strategy. The country is leveraging a fascinating mix of low-tech and high-tech innovations to build resilience and drastically cut its carbon footprint. The numbers are a testament to this success. Today, an estimated 45% of all urban waste in Burkina Faso is diverted from landfills and revalorized through recycling or composting. This single achievement has a massive climate impact. By preventing organic waste from decomposing in anaerobic conditions in landfills, the country avoids the release of enormous quantities of methane, a greenhouse gas that is over 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide in trapping heat in the atmosphere. The estimated annual reduction of 120,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions is a figure that many wealthier nations would envy. The cornerstone of this strategy is composting. Across the country, community-led composting centers have become hubs of green innovation. They utilize simple, effective aerobic composting techniques. Organic waste is collected, mixed with dry materials like straw or sawdust to ensure proper aeration, and regularly turned to facilitate decomposition by microbes. The resulting product is a rich, dark humus that is a boon for farmers. In a region where chemical fertilizers are expensive and can degrade soil over time, this organic compost is a game changer. Farmers who use it report significant improvements in soil structure, water retention, and crop health. The claim of a 30% increase in agricultural yields is not an exaggeration. For many, it's a conservative estimate. This means more food security, higher incomes for farming families, and a reduced need to clear new land for agriculture, thus preserving precious ecosystems. From tires to fuel, used car and motorcycle tires, which once clogged landscapes or were burned in toxic fires, are now a feedstock for pyrolysis. In small-scale, locally fabricated reactors, the tires are heated in an oxygen-free environment. This process breaks them down into three valuable components: a carbon-rich solid char biochar, a synthetic gas, and a crude liquid biofuel. This biofuel is then refined and used to power small engines, such as those in the ubiquitous three-wheeled tuk-tuks or in grain mills, displacing more expensive and polluting diesel fuel. Plastic bricks. Innovators are mixing shredded plastic waste with sand, heating the mixture, and pressing it into durable, water-resistant paving blocks and construction bricks. These plastic bricks are stronger and lighter than conventional concrete blocks, and provide a safe way to sequester plastic that cannot be easily recycled into other products. Safer incineration. Recognizing that some waste cannot be recycled, students and faculty at the University of Ouagadougou have designed and built prototypes of small-scale, high-temperature incinerators powered by solar energy. These units are designed to safely burn residual waste, including certain types of medical waste, at temperatures high enough to destroy harmful pollutants, with filters to capture particulate matter. This represents a significant leap forward from hazardous open burning. What makes this technological flourishing so impressive is its homegrown nature. Burkina Faso is not waiting to import expensive, complex machinery from the West. It is fostering a culture of frugal innovation, adapting and building technologies that are appropriate for the local context, affordable, repairable, and scalable. This approach has attracted the attention of a wide range of international partners. The World Bank, through its waste management and climate-smart agriculture project Projet BF, has invested millions to support the expansion of composting and recycling infrastructure. The European Union funds programs that provide technical assistance to green startups, and in a sign of the model's cutting-edge appeal, venture capitalists from as far away as Silicon Valley are beginning to explore investment opportunities in Burkinabe eco-enterprises, recognizing that the solutions being forged in the Sahel may hold lessons for the entire world. If women are the heart of Burkina Faso's waste revolution, then young people are its engine. In a country where an astonishing 70% of the population is under the age of 30, tackling the pervasive issue of youth unemployment is a national priority. The burgeoning circular economy has emerged as a powerful, unexpected source of meaningful employment and entrepreneurial opportunity for this dynamic generation, giving them a tangible stake in building a better future for their country. The waste sector is creating thousands of jobs that span the entire value chain. Young people are working as uniformed waste collectors on tricycles, as sorters and technicians in recycling centers, as sales and marketing agents for recycled products, and most excitingly, as the founders of innovative tech startups. For many, a job that involves handling trash is not seen as dirty work but as a modern, respectable profession with a clear purpose and a pathway for career advancement. This has led to a measurable impact. In some urban districts where waste management initiatives are concentrated, youth unemployment has seen a decline of up to 15% in just a few years. One of the most brilliant examples of this youthful ingenuity is Green Faso, a mobile application that is revolutionizing urban waste collection. Created by a team of young Burkinabe tech entrepreneurs, the app functions as an Uber for trash. Households and businesses use the simple interface to request a garbage pickup. The request is instantly routed to the nearest registered waste collector in their area. The app handles scheduling, payment, and even tracks the final destination of the waste to ensure it goes to a proper sorting facility, not an illegal dump site. Green Faso's genius lies in its incentive system. To encourage sorting at the source, the app incorporates a rewards program. Families that correctly separate their organic waste, plastics, and metals receive points, which can be redeemed for discounts on essential goods like cooking oil, rice, or mobile phone credit at participating local shops. This gamified approach has dramatically increased recycling rates and has made waste collection in the three major cities it serves, Ouagadougou, Bobo-Dioulasso, and Koudougou, far more efficient and transparent. The educational system is also adapting to support this new economy. Vocational training schools are now offering specialized courses in green trades. Young men and women can learn practical skills like how to manufacture plastic bricks, how to maintain and repair recycling machinery, or how to conduct waste audits for businesses. University programs in environmental science and computer science are encouraging students to focus their final projects on solving waste-related challenges, creating a pipeline of talent and new ideas. This engagement is fostering a profound sense of national pride and civic duty. Young Burkinabes are not waiting for opportunities to be handed to them, they are creating them. They see a direct link between their work, the cleanliness of their neighborhoods, the health of their families, and the future prosperity of their nation. By choosing to build careers in the green economy, they are making a powerful statement. They are staying, they are innovating, and they are taking ownership of their country's destiny. This is not just a trend with such a youthful demographic, it is the very definition of Burkina Faso's future. The echoes of Burkina Faso's success are now reverberating far beyond its borders. The nation's innovative and context-appropriate approach to waste management is no longer a local secret. It is becoming an influential global model for sustainable development, particularly for countries facing similar economic and environmental pressures. A steady stream of delegations from neighboring nations like Niger, Ghana, Togo, and Senegal now visit Burkina Faso not as aid donors, but as students, eager to learn how this small landlocked country managed to turn its garbage into gold. What makes the Burkina model so compelling and replicable is its rejection of the one-size-fits-all high-tech solutions often pushed by developed nations. The system is built on principles of decentralization, affordability, and community ownership. Instead of investing in massive, centralized and expensive incinerators or sorting plants, the model relies on a network of smaller, community-managed recycling hubs and composting sites. This distributed network is more resilient, creates more local jobs, and is far less costly to build and maintain. The emphasis on simple, effective systems is key. This includes RONCAS, low-cost logistics, utilizing fleets of affordable tricycles and carts for neighborhood-level collection, which can navigate narrow streets that large garbage trucks cannot access. Smart incentives, employing mobile technology like the Green Faso app and fair, transparent payment systems for waste collectors, ensuring they earn a dignified wage. Value chain integration, fostering direct links between waste collectors, recycling cooperatives, and the end markets for their products, cutting out exploitative middlemen. Burkina Faso is now beginning to export not just its ideas, but also its tangible products. The stylish handbags made from woven plastic by the Recycle Fay collective are gaining international acclaim. The durable, colorful bricks made from plastic waste are finding a market in neighboring countries for construction projects. These exports serve as powerful ambassadors for the circular economy, demonstrating to the world that waste can be transformed into high-quality, valuable goods. This growing influence has been solidified by formal recognition on the world stage. At a recent United Nations Environment Programme summit in Nairobi, Burkina Faso was lauded as one of the top 5 African nations leading climate innovation through waste management. This accolade has opened doors to new partnerships and streams of funding. The government is actively working with regional bodies like the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to develop frameworks for sharing best practices and promoting circular economy policies across West Africa. Burkina Faso is strategically leveraging this success to reposition itself on the global stage. It is moving beyond the persistent narrative of poverty and instability that has long defined perceptions of the Sahel. Instead, it is presenting itself as a hub of green innovation, a nation of resourceful problem solvers, and a leader in the global transition to a circular economy. The country is building stronger diplomatic and economic ties with development banks, green investment funds, and international corporations, proving that a commitment to sustainability can also be a powerful tool for foreign policy and economic development. Burkina Faso is no longer just a place with problems, it is a place with exportable solutions. The story of Burkina Faso's trash-to-treasure journey is a powerful testament to the power of human ingenuity in the face of adversity. What began as a desperate attempt to manage overflowing landfills has organically evolved into a dynamic multi-million-dollar industry that is simultaneously tackling poverty, empowering women and youth, and building resilience to climate change. This is not merely a story about recycling, it is a story about fundamentally rethinking the relationship between society, economy, and the environment. While the progress is undeniable and deeply inspiring, the journey is far from over. Significant challenges remain on the road ahead. The primary task is scaling up. While the 45% valorization rate in major cities is a monumental achievement, waste management in smaller towns and rural areas remains a significant challenge. Formalizing the entire sector is another critical step. Many waste collectors and small-scale processors still operate in the informal economy, which can leave them vulnerable and limit their access to finance and social protections. Ensuring worker safety, providing health insurance, and establishing fair labor standards across the board is essential for the long-term sustainability and equity of the system. Finally, attracting larger-scale domestic and international investment is crucial to upgrade technology, expand infrastructure, and move further up the value chain, for instance, from simply shredding plastic to manufacturing complex molded products. Yet the vision for the future is clear and audacious. Burkina Faso aims to become the first nation in West Africa to achieve a fully circular economy, where the concept of waste is rendered obsolete. It is a vision where every discarded item is seen as a feedstock for a new product, where every citizen participates in and benefits from a system of sustainable consumption and production, and where economic growth is definitively decoupled from environmental degradation. From plastic bottles transformed into life-saving construction materials, to food scraps reborn as life-giving compost, to old tires resurrected as clean-burning fuel, Burkina Faso is showing the world that our greatest challenges can contain the seeds of our most profound transformations. It is a lesson written not in policy papers but in the daily actions of a resilient and resourceful people. The next time you casually toss an item into the trash, pause for a moment and think of Burkina Faso. Think of the women weaving plastic into art, the youth coding apps to clean their cities, and the farmers growing more food with composted soil. They have shown us that garbage is not an endpoint. With vision, creativity, and collective will, it can be the starting point for a cleaner, more just, and more prosperous world. If this small, determined nation can turn its garbage into gold, what is stopping the rest of us from seeing the treasure in our own trash? Burkina Faso has thrown down a gauntlet of inspiration. The world would be wise to pick it up.